Hey you geeks! About time I did a Bridge 4 video.
You are ordered by Allied command to select 12 general prisoners, convicted by courts-martial and sentenced to be executed or serve lengthy prison terms.
Officially, this is part of my Oathbringer suite, but I cut these guys from my Way of Kings review because Sanderson has a habit of leaving crews behind in the sequels. Then they got cut from Words of Radiance because that book is dense. But Bridge 4 is the heart of the Stormlight archive.
Although I cried at the end of The Dirty Dozen.
Well, who didn't?
They cannot be ignored any longer. Besides, I took shots at Elantris for forming a parish without real-world problems, but I admit that realistically an undead community would not have real-world problems. Bridge 4 is very much alive. They eat, die, have kids, and get married, all in their unique ways. Their diversity is their biggest asset, and it is their biggest liability. Bridge 4 succeeds because it sees the person behind the liabilities and encourages them to reach their potential, and not as arrow fodder. This video contains spoilers through Oathbringer. Physical. In Sadius's army, physical ability was the only trait that Bridgemen cared about.
You must be swift as the coursing river.
Anything that made a Bridgeman unable to carry was a death sentence. Scar was rejected from the Black Caps because of his height, and wound up in Bridge 4 because he was too short for the other crews.
A person's a person, no matter how small. A person's a person, no matter how small.
Lopin was sent to the Bridge crews because he was missing an arm. Rlain was sent to Bridge 4 in the hopes that he, as a Parshman, would kill them all. Not to mention all the wounded that Kaladin saved, beginning with Hobber, who were abandoned because they could not walk. Short term, these men gave Bridge 4 a water crew and insight into Parshendi culture. Long term, Scar becomes an excellent soldier who saved 2 Kholin heirs from certain death. Lopin provides a network of cousins.
Nick, Nicky, and I am Gus.
Who can solve any problem. They provide rope, they guard kings, and they will be excellent Windrunner squires when Lopin swears his third ideal. Oh yeah, Lopin became a Knight Radiant who seems to specialize in protecting people from despair. A very useful skill in an army of mentally ill soldiers fighting against the end of the world. Lastly, Rlain might just save them all. As the diagram says, one Parshendi will form a bridge. It makes sense if that Parshendi was a bridgeman. Hopefully his bridge between humans and singers will be well trod. Familial. Bridge 4 is certainly a brotherhood.
We band of brothers, for he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother.
But it is not merely a family. It is growing into a collection of families of all shapes and sizes. In Sadius's army, they had no family. Once freed, they formed their own families and brought them into the Bridge 4 fold. Pete and Ka, Punyo and his wife, Drahe and Drew, Rock, Song, and all their children. Although Kaladin's initial response to these developments is, "That's wonderful," he also shows that he and the rest of the crew were not prepared to deal with this. First, Cal chose to pursue assassinating Elhokar over getting housing for his married men. Add that to the long list of reasons to hate Moash. Poor Senora Punyo, delivering lunch to make sure her husband fits in? Cal also created division in his ranks when he suggested that Drahe dating a man was feminine. Families complicate things. But they also make Bridge 4 stronger. Rock's family helps provide food for sweaty Windrunners. Ka and Senora Punyo become company scribes. Drew still does his job, but it doesn't hurt to have an in at the quartermaster's office.
Say you guys in quartermaster are doing a bang-up job. I mean, everybody seems to have plenty of guns and bullets and stuff. It wouldn't be much of a war without you.
Also, the Drahey incident may have yielded one of the biggest assets for Bridge 4. Immediately after Lopin speaks up for Drahey, we see Lopin run to the other side of the plateau and start picking up rocks, as if he were looking for Rua, his spren, like he does at the end of Oathbringer. Given what we know about Lopin and his oaths, it's safe to say that Lopin's ability to draw Stormlight increased that day, much like Cal's did back on Payday in The Way of Kings. Culture. Bridge 4's cultural diversity and subsequent search for a moral center gives their story an extra layer of immersion. As Seusical says, the other men don't have any direction. You've given them purpose, a reason to be good men. They are good men. And if the men need guidance, if they need a moral center, someone has to talk to them when they're doing something wrong. Even the most diverse group needs a strong moral center, something on which they all agree to build their community. Without someone to guide its members to pursue their moral center, Bridge 4 realistically struggles.
Don't tell me what to believe.
In college, I worked as a peer minister and was trained in interfaith dialogue, a skill I use to this day, and even on this channel. So when Calvin gave Seusical textbook interfaith dialogue advice, I was flabbergasted. You should try to understand what they want out of life and respect that. I won't forbid you from expressing your morals, I'd encourage it. Just don't present your beliefs as our code. While I'm still not certain how a surgeon turned soldier turned slave turned Bright Lord came up with that answer, certainly not from Lirin, maybe Hesina or Tux, Seusical learns that this rule of rhetoric alone is not enough to hold Bridge 4 together. Even with the moral example of Kaladin to inspire them, Seusical doesn't have the paternal instincts to give Bridge 4 moral guidance. But Rock does. He even hears confessions.
Bless me, Padre, for I have sinned.
Rock helps them find a way to reach that goal. He also provides food. Number one rule of community building: provide food. With food and a common goal, there is no divide that Bridge 4 cannot overcome. Moving forward, Bridge 4 will face many more problems arising from their diversity. Teft has his own squires, Lopin is his own Radiant, Renarin is a corrupted Truth Watcher, R'lyeh can't use Stormlight, and the recently released Radiant quiz all but guarantees that Rock will be a Stone Ward. How will they carry their bridge together when they are setting out on divergent roads? I cannot wait to find out. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you would like to see more. Your patronage is greatly appreciated.